Hello, this is the Freedom from Anger podcast. Very excited about getting the podcast up and rolling again. And I just looked, and it's been about a year since I had a guest. My bad. Life does tend to get in the way, but that's all right. That's all right. But yeah, I just want to thank anybody that's listening for hanging in there, staying subscribed. Even though we have not been putting out much content. But yeah, just looking forward to getting this posted, and I'm working on getting my next guest hopefully here soon. Stay tuned. And without any more fluff, here's the podcast. This is my intro. I will put an outro there at the end. Sum up everything. A lot of good information. Thanks for listening. Hello, welcome to the Freedom from Anger podcast. This is James. It's been a while, but I'm very excited to come back with an awesome guest. His name is Cam Cordin. He is an author. He's a health enthusiast. A little bit about Cam's book. It's called Savage, Chill, Die to Live. It is the true story of what happens when a man reaches to the end of himself, physically, mentally, and emotionally, and signs a death contract to come back alive. And I'm very excited to have Cam here and to tell us more about his journey and what led to the book, and give us some really good information on how to better our lives, which that's what this whole podcast is about. Self-help through education, mind, body, spirit, everything. And I'm really excited to learn more about his journey. Hey, Cam, how you doing?
Great. How are you, James?
I'm just glad to get back into recording. It's been a few months. I've been on a indefinite hiatus, so to speak. But really excited, and I'm really glad that you reached out to me and wanted to be on the podcast. And I think this is going to get my juices flowing, get me back into getting more guests and really seeking out people that I want to talk to. And you just happen to fall in my lap. I'm blessed.
It's tough podcasting. Get a little nervous.
I don't need to be nervous. We're just having a chat. We talked a bit earlier. I think you're a great fit. We got some things in common. Can't go wrong with that. So you're coming to us from sunny Florida. I'm up here in Tennessee. It's a little cool this morning. I don't know what the temperature is, but I'd say probably around 50, give or take. All right, 911 days to either live or rebuild or disappear. So how did you come up with that concept?
Basically, what led to it was a night I was in my third marriage, and it was dead. We both agreed to a divorce, and my body was destroyed. I felt like 70, beating my body up, probably by design. I did it extreme everything. I go through periods with extreme training. I always was involved in athletics. It was an identity of mine. And it got to the point that I had nerve damage in both arms. I waited too long to have the surgery, and they told me you might get the feeling back. But it definitely, the surgery helped. I waited too long, and I kept my training routine up, and every joint in my body was destroyed. Every day after a training session, I'd wake up feeling like a train just ran me over. And I had a son from my second marriage. He was living with us, and he was roughly 2.5 years, which is 911 days before he went off to college. And so when I'm out on that pool deck that night after the divorce, I said to myself, after he's off to college, what am I fighting for? I had nothing left. I had no marriage. My body was, like I said, it felt like it's 70. And I just said, I'm going to give it a go to fix all this. or just strap the kettlebell on, chain it to me, and walk into the pool for a clean exit. And at that moment, I felt like instant relief because there was an end in sight and there was a goal with conditions attached to the goal. And at that night, I was training really hard always, but the pain was so bad, smoking weed daily, thinking that it was going to help. It didn't help the pain. That's all a myth. But I didn't want to give it up because then I would admit there was a real problem. I drink wine every night, but that night on that pool deck, that version of me, I killed off those identities. I let them drown. And I said that if we're going to go on this journey, you guys can't come with. And literally, I went to bed. I felt great. It was a relief knowing that there was an end in sight, not just because I wasn't going to go through the managed decline. And the next day I woke up, I felt like a different person. And I had a plan, like how to fix this, calculated. And of course, along the way, literally the next day, my wife at the time said she was pregnant. So I tried to resurrect the marriage. And eventually it did come to an end. But it wasn't until literally right before my son graduated high school. But in that process, I really started investigating, did lots of, I guess it's not mainstream treatments to fix everything. There were so many protocols I went through, peptides, borax. I can't even tell you how much of a proponent of borax. Borax, niacin, cold therapy, kettlebells, the diet change. There was a lot going on. I was just a man on a mission.
Yeah, and that's like what a lot of us do when we decide to change our lives. We tend to go overboard and trying to do too much too soon. And instead of subtracting things from our lives, we're actually adding things to it. And then that creates stress. And then, like, I've got to work out X amount of times a week and I got to do this. And how long do you think it took you to actually find your quote unquote routine?
I get through the progression because I was still in the marriage, but I was fixing my body and that happened pretty fast. But mentally and spiritually, I was broken. And I think that you have to fix the body first and then everything comes together. And it happened. I would like to say that I created this system myself, but it seemed like the information was flowing to me and everything that happened to me was by design. And I just stumbled onto a lot of things by chance. But the cold plunge was probably one of the biggest things I would say. But when I wrote the book, I wrote like exactly if I would do it all over again, the right order of operations. Because I kind of was just going a little, I don't know how to say it.
Shotgun method just everywhere.
Yeah, obviously, because I was in a bad marriage. And like I say in the book, it's pretty much all my fault. All the past marriages, I didn't give the women what they wanted, the attention. I buried myself in work, in jujitsu, and like I was present, but I wasn't. I used jujitsu as a way to beat myself up so I was too tired to think about anything else. And eventually all those problems built up for a breaking point where the body, mind, business, everything was collapsing right before my eyes. But the cold was like the real big breakthrough. I think the first breakthrough was borax. I can't even recommend that enough. It's controversial. I don't recommend anyone doing it, but it's boron. But it really does great stuff for the joints. I use DMSO with magnesium oil on the joints. Because doctors, they just wanted me a slow decline on pain meds. And I was done. I was just at the point of doing everything backwards. And I have a background in systems, system dynamics to be exact. So I look at everything systematically. So I was experimenting with a lot of supplements. And then the cold plunge hit and everything took off from there. And the real progress was obviously after the marriage ended. Because I saw my other demons I had with tackle.
I was looking at your Instagram, which it's very well put together. He's got a lot of followers, savage_chill_. But yeah, but I was looking down at the bottom, jiu-jitsu, your black belt? in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, since 2007. Yeah.
And I get a friend of mine, and he's thinking he just got his black belt, but he said it's like it's got to be like the hardest when it comes to martial arts black belt to get.
It's difficult.
And he's been working on it for years. But I think he just tested for it not too long ago. But I have to hit him up and see where that went. But yeah, me personally, I'm all for staying away from those pain meds. I've seen too many people. I've worked with too many people. That's where it all began. Okay. But I'm all for alternative medicines. I'm all for alternative ways because I do believe that the human body is the most amazing thing in the world. How it can repair itself. And that's why I wish there's probably a really good reason why like stem cells and things like that's not looked favorably upon in the United States. And apparently, because hey, the money's in the treatment, not the cure, because it allows your body to repair itself. Like we talked about the other day, I've gotten big into sauna, doing sauna like every day. It's become a routine. I've lost weight, gotten healthier. My blood work's better than it's ever been. And wanting to get into the contrast therapy, going to the cold plunge. Just haven't pulled that trigger just yet. So when you started doing the cold plunge, what benefits did you see right away? I know with anything, it takes time to get the full benefits.
The first benefit I ever felt from it, it was 2007. I was living in Lake Tahoe, and it was a snowy day. And out of the blue, I decided I was going to go to the lake and jump in. And it was such a violent reaction. And I dunked my head under. And right away, I felt like reborn. I was at peace with myself. And I continued to go each time to the lake. I felt such a relaxation. And then, of course, I moved back to Florida. And 13, 14 years later, whatever it was, I remember those moments. It really hit me. I was just too young to really appreciate it. But it's an unbelievable feeling. And fast forward to the first time I did it, when I started this whole desk contract. It was tough, because it teaches you, and I have it in the book, but I'll just say it. People ask, why is savage chill? And I say that savage without chill is just rage, and chill without savage is just laziness. And the chill part is my true rules that I really talk about in the book is no panicking, no whining. And when you combine those both, you have a cold mind, a strong body, and a clear mission. Back to the cold plunges, like right away, you can't panic in it. You have to control your breath, everything, because it is like right away you jump into it. And if it's 50 degrees, it's not so bad. And like eventually everything that becomes mainstream, they encourage it. It's before first it was 40 degrees. Now it's 50. Now people preach 60 degrees. Like 60-degree water is not tough, but like 30-degree water is tough. And you will want to panic because your body is screaming like we're dying. And I think that it trains your nervous system not to panic. You're focusing on that not to panic. Like you just have to accept it. And it changes that voice inside your head. You aren't dying. It is extremely discomfortable. But you have to train your body. You're capable of it. And especially if you look online, you can see people sitting in ice for hours. Obviously, they've trained their mind for this. They've trained their nervous system for this. So I would start small. I started a minute. And right away, like the joints felt good. I'm not going to say they were healed by any stretch, but I kept increasing it each time I go in. And like within a couple months, like I was actually feeling good. I could sleep. Obviously, I talk in the book too. I do stack like a sleep supplement, but the sleep was unbelievable. And I think that's a big part of the system is the cold, extended things. And like it does do a lot chemically for your body, but it also resets your nervous system. and it changes your mind. You start learning to feel your body. You're not numbing it with the drugs or anything else, but you start feeling it, and you'll be in there and you'll start feeling your toes are cold or your fingers. And you just have to learn to accept it. And eventually you realize, yeah, it is discomfortable. You're in discomfort, but you're not dying. And I think that people, because they're so comfortable, anytime there's a little bit of discomfort, that it's like terror in the mind and everything starts going crazy, fast breathing, and it's like a death spiral right there. Because if you go in the cold and you're like that, it's over for you. You have to own it, and you have to realize it's not going to kill you. And that teaches you not to panic. And like, I know a lot of people love meditation. I'm not knocking it, but I am. Same side. You have to have it in a nice, quiet, dark room. Everything's calm. But that's not how the real world works. Everything will be going great, and then life punches you in the face. And you have to be controlled. You can't panic. If you panic, you're finished. And I've never seen a situation where panic helped the situation. It really teaches your nervous system just to relax, to chill, like literally chill. And, like chemically, what it does for your body is unbelievable. And you do come out of it naturally like an unbelievable natural high, like you've never experienced. There's no drug that can produce this type of high. It feels great, but I think it's just like step by step owning it and pushing past your limits, seeing what's possible and knowing that you don't have to panic. And I think that alone is like the biggest aspect of it. Like people can preach about the norepinephrine, dopamine, adrenaline. That's all great. The actual control of your mind, it's priceless. And I can go back and tell when I had my nerve surgery, I'll tell a story. And I was pretty bad state. I went to Alabama for it because they have great surgeons there. And after the surgery, I did both arms at the same time to relocate the nerve. And I remember after the anesthesia, I was nauseous. I was in extreme pain. I had to take the nausea pill. I had to take the pain pills. It was so painful. So a couple of years later, I'm doing the cold plunge every day. And like I had in my left arm, I have it in both arms, but I just did the left arm. I have a size of a great bone floating around from years ago. I broke my arm, locked in the elbow. So I couldn't move the elbow. So I'm like, okay, I have to get this scoped now. So I called the surgeon in Alabama. He's sure, no problem. And he did the surgery. I woke up from the anesthesia totally fresh. Like my mind was clear. There was nothing wrong and no pain too. And it wasn't because I was like forcing it. It was literally my body learned to regulate it naturally without the use of pharmaceuticals. Like the cold exposure in action is you get to be able to use your body's own internal pharmacy to regulate pain and everything else. And I can't speak highly enough about it. Like people should do it. You shouldn't be scared of it. You should actually want to do it. It'll improve your sleep. It'll improve everything in your life.
Yeah, and me, I'm a big nerd when it comes to the brain, chemicals, and the body and things like that. But yeah, you're right. Like the norepinephrine and the dopamine studies have shown that it increases 200, 300% with the cold exposure, which is massive. And then you'll get your body prepared for stresses that come along, whether it be something going on in daily life or, like you said, surgery, whatever. But if you're living a very quiet, kind of mundane life, no real stress, when bad things happen, how's your body going to react? Because they don't know what to do. But if you're constantly putting your body into that situation, I'm sure it's the same with jiu-jitsu training. I'm sure there's probably been studies on people who are active in jiu-jitsu. Yeah, their sympathetic nervous system's probably a little more acute than the average person because you're getting that stress. You're building that resilience.
I always believe like everyone, like I have a lot of guys I train with, they're world champions and now, but overall, the average person, everyone gets what they want out of jujitsu. And some people want to feel like a victim and they quit because they can't handle it, but they got what they want. They wanted to be a victim. Other people want to be a champion. They become a champion, but they got what they wanted out of it. And I believe just the actual training of jiu-jitsu, it's like a simulation of life. Like eventually, no matter how good you are, someone's going to take your back. Someone's going to get on the mounts and you have to get out of there. That's when you really need to, okay, don't panic. I have to do this. I have to do that. I do think that is well, one of the great things about jujitsu. It is like a simulation of life, but in controlled circumstance where you're not going to die. The other thing too, and I'll be morbid about this, is I've been training a long time. People fear death. It's like the end of there's a whole industry with the biohackers. They want to be immortal. They fear death. They think it might be painful, this or that. But like in jiu-jitsu, you eventually, someone puts a choke on you and you do fade out. You get put to sleep. Like, why are you so scared about something you were actually designed for? In the end, we're all going to eventually fail. But people fear this so much. And I think it changes the mentality of playing not to lose, like a prevent defense, versus someone that's playing to win. It's a different thing. Like you don't care you just want to win and you already have accepted the worst case result. You don't care. And I think that changes how you live life too.
The warrior mentality. I'm out there to win, regardless of what happens. I'm not worried about if I come back or not, but hey, I'm going to try to go out there and win.
And I think that with jujitsu, I think it's good because it will humble you, regardless, no matter who you are. Eventually you get humbled, or you've been humbled a lot. So you become more, I don't know what the word would be, but maybe not so cocky.
Yeah, just humble.
Every guy has someone that humble.
Oh, yeah.
And like the cold humbles you too. And I think it keeps you in check for a clear mind. And I think once you lose that humbleness, that's when problems strike.
Yeah, and you touched on this briefly and talk about like inflammation. Inflammation is the slow and steady killer of most people. Everybody, we're walking around, just our bodies are totally inflamed. And it leads to like heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, depression, Alzheimer's, autoimmune disease. It leads to everything. But what do we do to decrease the inflammation? We pop some Advil or something, and that's a temporary fix, but the inflammation's still there.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why professional athletes for many years, after a game, what do? They get into an ice bath. All the inflammation and the wear and tear that they've done to their bodies to try to decrease that inflammation. I think that we as a society, especially here in the U.S., we need to be cognizant of all the inflammation. Any kind of itis is inflammation.
Yeah. It is treatable. Doctors will tell you it'll only get worse, but I don't believe that's the case because literally I'm pain-free. I had it everywhere and their medicines don't work. The cortisone shots, if you take cortisone and then you go work out, you feel like you're having a heart attack. For me, cortisone lasted maybe a day. And it kills you like your cardio. It doesn't work. I think it's more placebo than anything for people. I don't see it working. And it can't be good for you.
No, not at all. Today's medical, I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of it. When you can diagnose somebody through Zoom, what are they going to do? They're going to give you pills. It's automatic. You go to the doctor, they're going to give you pills. I've never had a doctor ask me, hey, what do you eat? Hey, do you exercise? How quick can I get you out of here? I'm staring at a laptop. Okay, what's your problem? Okay, I'm going to prescribe this and this. Not, hey, you probably need to lose some weight. You probably need to exercise more. You probably need to see a nutritionist or something. No, it's always just in and out, here's some pills. The legal drug dealers, as I call them.
But even the nutritionalist, when I was 18, I was a nutritionist. But it's a flawed system in itself there, is because they're going off standards that don't work. And it's changed so much. For instance, I just eat one meal a day. This is me for 17 years. Now I eat just one meal a day and it's all beef. And the only reason I was always meat heavy, but I kept fruits or vegetables because I thought I needed the fiber because it's so programmed into you. You need fiber. I noticed when I switched only to meat, the amount of energy I had was through the roof. Like workouts that used to be like a struggle to finish, all of a sudden became easy. And I started doing much more. And then, of course, I found the right balance because if you do too much, your body, you're not meant to do this much. The all meat diet, I think, is a big one. It does make big changes in your body. It's easy too. And I think it's cheaper as well. Because if you want to go to the grocery store and eat like they suggest, it's expensive. It's like a little pack of blueberries is like $8. Iceberg lettuce, which has no nutritional value, is expensive too. And you go to the meat, what's the most you can really spend? One of my staple meals is I eat a pound of ground beef with roughly a pound of liver. That is an $8 meal. But it fueled me for the whole day. You can't even go to Starbucks for $8.
McDonald's.
And you're getting quality stuff. And there's a lot of talk about you can have too much liver. I don't know if that's true because I eat a ton of liver. In all the studies, if you really investigate, when they talk about liver to having, I think it's vitamin A toxicity from liver, it pulls up a study from explorers back in the day that were eating polar bear liver. We're not eating polar bear liver. You can't, it's almost impossible to have toxicity eating liver. I've yet to see it. There was a stretch I was eating like a pound of it almost every day. And here I am feeling better than ever. With burgers, I would have liver first. And it's a great hack. It's liver is roughly $2.30 a pound. Would basically, and it comes frozen where I get it at Wild Fork. Great store for this. And I can take it out of the freezer, let it sit for 10 minutes. And then I would open up the package and cut it like little cubes of sushi. I'd melt butter and salt it, and you just dip it in. It's a sweet taste. It's like a dessert for me. I absolutely love it. I think there's a lot of people who hear about liver and say, well, don't do it. And there's other guys that sell liver supplements saying, take the supplements because you might overdose from it. And another just fun thing is the Liver King. You see him show lip. But I've never actually seen the guy eat liver. I just want to see it. But he's selling supplements. Liver, it's great. It's good for women, especially when they go through their menstrual cycle, because that's a lot of blood loss. It's perfect. You shouldn't fear it. I encourage everyone. Liver, it's great. I like all the organ meat personally. But the diet itself of just meat, it's hard to wrap it around your head because we've been programmed for so long that it'll cause cholesterol issue. You'll get constipated, all these other things. The only thing I would say is if you switch to all meat, you definitely have to drink a lot more water because you're not getting that water that you probably used to in fruits. And most people in general are already really dehydrated. So I would encourage everyone to drink more water. I literally have these all over the house. They're 30-ounce bottles. I bring 2 of these bottles up next to my bed. And before my feet even touch the ground, I'm drinking 2 of them. And then I start my day. If you haven't been doing that, you probably can't drink that much. But you can drink as much as you can. If you're drinking coffee and you don't drink a lot of water beforehand, you're starting the day off with dumping gasoline on a fire. It's not the right approach. And if you even look further, Like Tom Brady, great athlete, really took care of himself. I don't necessarily agree with his diet, but his one thing that he was very like anal about was water in his TB12 system. And he recommended, and it's 1 ounce of water per pound. Well, if you're 200 pounds, you should be drinking 200 ounces of water a day. And if he was working out, it was 2 to 3 times that. Here's the guy, and he tracked all his water. He's drinking anywhere from 2 to 600 ounces a day. If he's doing it, and he had a pretty good long career and never really broke down much, and that's just from water. And I think that's really important if you're making changes to really start with water.
Oh yeah, definitely. Most people are dehydrated. Most people lack vitamin D. Yeah, and when it comes to when you look at like cold plunge and the carnivore diet as it's mostly labeled, you do see it picking up popularity. You got your Joe Rogan. I think I follow Mark Wahlberg on Instagram, and there's always videos of him doing his cold plunge. And there was one where he was obviously in the hotel room and he had an ice bath that he was getting into. So obviously it's that important to him that he had somebody get him a bunch of ice and bring it up to the hotel room.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely something to it. Like I said, the Scandinavians have been doing it for thousands of years, especially like the Finnish and all that. They do the sauna, they go jump in a lake, freezing lake, or they roll around in the snow and then they get back in the sauna. It's about having that contrast therapy where the body is fluctuating, building that resilience. And like you said, like getting that reset. When the average person that works a 9 to 5, sits at a cubicle, when are they getting that reset? When are they experiencing any physical stress other than my pizza's not here on time?
And that comes out to is in today's world is we have more comfort than ever. And eventually, I don't know, comfort from 20 years ago, 30 years ago would be discomfort today. And that's a real problem because people can't handle stress. And we have stress glaring at us all day long that slowly drains your willpower. So it is a real problem. People don't even see the stress coming at them. You watch the news, it's stressful. I stopped watching the news.
Highly recommend that.
So I think in like going back to the carnivore, for example, it is such a simple system. And people eventually stop it, even though it works, because it's their environment. And no one ever really tackles the environment. And I tackled the environment not in the right order, but that is the first thing I recommend is you tackle your environment. So you're like, for me, I want my house to look like a hotel, not like piles of stuff that every time you walk past it, you have these projects I'm going to do, but you never do, but it's staring there right at you. Either you're going to do it or you're not. But every time you walk past it, a pile of crap or a pile that you have to clean up, it's slowly draining your willpower. And when your willpower is drained, most likely you're going to break away. You're not going to follow a simple system. So I think the tackling the environment, it's really underrated. No one talks about it because if the environment is like cluttered, if you walk into someone's house and you got to finagle around just to get somewhere, what's going on inside of the mind? Your mind doesn't want that much information. And we're getting so much information now that by the end of the day or halfway through the day, your willpower is gone. Willpower is something you have a finite amount of. And that's why I like to systematize everything, like even small decisions, but you don't have to think. If you start a workout program, you should have every type of contingency possible. If you wake up late, you work out before you go to work. What are you going to do? Something is better than nothing. And you should pre-plan it so you don't have to sit there, because otherwise you'll sit in bed thinking like, should I skip the workout today? or what should I do? Or if you're hurt, should I just do nothing? There's always something you can do, and you should have a contingency for it. And that's my big thing is you systematize everything. You have checklists for everything. You need to try to do as little thinking as possible so it's automatic. I'm a big believer in the checklists. Pilots use it, surgeons use it, the military uses it. And if you overall look at what the military is, they do want you in a clutter-free area when you're there. They're really pushing that because they don't want you thinking about those little decisions. And the micro decisions just slowly wear you out. From notifications on your phone. For me, almost everything on my phone is silenced unless it's something important. I've taken it like an extreme approach because otherwise you'll never get anything done.
Yeah, 100% agree. Just looking around my office right now, I'm like, yeah, I got some clutter, and it's just amazing to me. Like, I'll go into a place, and if there's a lot of clutter, I get anxiety. But somehow I've gotten comfortable with the clutter in my office, and it's just, I don't know, it's sad, but I do know the feeling of, okay, once that clutter's gone and I clean everything gets in order, I feel better. Yeah, you just gotta have that willpower to do it, and that was on my list to do probably today because it's getting out of hand. Making lists, simplifying your life, minimalism. I'm all for those things. I'm definitely a minimalist at heart. My wife, on the other hand, is not, unfortunately. At least my space should be minimal. Everything else, keep the wife happy.
Yeah, but usually it's contagious.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That'd be a hard sell.
But it does relieve the mind. Like I really talk about it in the book. It like a big part of it because if you don't change the state of where you are, you're never ever going to make other changes. And eventually it creeps back in. It's dragging around the old identity you're carrying. It just wears on you and eventually it's going to happen. I think that's why people fail with carnivore. Because a lot of people, like it's a great diet, I will say that. And I think it's easy. But there's something else in their life that slowly pulls them away from it, a stressor. And I think it's in a spot like where you really need to make changes, get your environment. If you're an alcoholic and you stop drinking and your wife still drinks and there's still a liquor cabinet, and I hate to say it, but you got to leave your wife.
You're still hanging out at the bar with your buddies. And yeah, it's just a matter of time. Say like in the addiction treatment, you got to change your people, places, and things. And that comes with, like you said, like any kind of life change. And like you said, like subtraction. Keep it simple. Don't make life out harder than it has to be. Wake up to this. A lot of people like to think that they don't like routine, but we all like routine.
And even if you say, I just go with the flow, you still are following a system. You just don't recognize. Like everything in this world is a system. I noticed that everything is the ultimate goal for it. And if you're following like this go with the flow and you start complaining, why is this happening to me? Because you want to. You want to be a victim. Like alcohol and drug addicts, they go to the meeting, they keep reinforcing the belief that they're going to be addicted for the rest of their life and they're weak. And that's why they all slip up eventually. And they're hanging around other people that are in the same boat. So they feel like when one slips, it's just a matter of time for them all to slip. And I think you just have to eliminate everything in your life and you have to start from scratch. And that means environment. It means everything, and starting from water to changing your habits. I do think we complicate drastically. And I think if you start replacing things that are detrimental to you with something positive and you keep it up and you create that system that really works, you'll be successful.
Yeah, definitely my mindset when it comes to addiction, and it's very controversial in the field, is that relapse does not have to be a part of recovery. And many people will preach that, oh, you're going to relapse. You're just giving them an excuse, a built-in excuse that, hey, that's okay. I've known many people that just decided, hey, I'm done, and been sober for many years. And so what makes them so special is no, they had their mind made up. They decided they wanted to quit. And if you're not ready to quit, you're always going to have an excuse. And like I said, it's very controversial.
I think that if you read the book, and especially you're going through this, it lays the foundation. I had a friend, he's been an alcoholic his whole life, and he read the book, and he keeps messaging me like, this book hit me like I'm living through this. And I think that it's like everyone experiences, everyone gets punched in the face. And you're going to get punched in the face again later in life. It's going to happen. But you have to be prepared for it with a plan. Even if the plan sucks, it's better than no plan at all. And I think that there's a story of a military outfit in Europe. And they had a training exercise. They get dropped off in the Pyrenees Mountains. And they say, you got 3 days to go back to camp. Huge snowstorm comes down. They don't even know where they are. About a week later, they come back. And the commanding officer said, how'd you guys get back? He said, we followed the map. And he said, can I see the map? He looked at the map and he said, this is not even the right map. But they found their way because they thought they had a plan. It wasn't a good plan, but somehow or another they executed it and it still worked. You don't have to have the perfect plan, the perfect system, but just one you can believe in, that you can do on your worst day, and you will definitely outperform. And it's simple. That's another thing. It has to be simple. You will succeed. And then you can modify it along the way, but you just have to keep following the plan. And your plan will be different than someone else's plan. You can't find some shredded guy on Instagram and say, I want his workout, his lifestyle. Like, that was designed for him. He might train all day long. He might sit there and struggle with the diet. Are you compatible with that? It's just, you have to be compatible with the system. Otherwise, you'll never, ever succeed. And people want it to be compatible, and they're lying to themselves. So you have to be very open and honest when you design that system for what you can do. It doesn't matter if it's easy, you feel it's too easy. Just wait, and you can always add to it later, but you start with a plan so you don't need motivation. If you need motivation to follow a system, it's over. Motivation it doesn't exist. The system has to be, you'll get motivation when you follow the system. You'll develop the discipline, even if the system's very easy. It's momentum builds on everything. So if you could follow it every day, even when you're sick, I talk about this in the book, that I still do. Not like I'm thousands of days. I never miss. I follow the system to the T because it'd be like, I've become the system. It just runs for me. There's no motivation. Did it build discipline in other areas of my life? Absolutely. But if you follow it and it's realistic and will per your goals, you will see the results. Systems usually in everything, they oscillate. As long as you're making improvements, sometimes you're going to dip down. That's part of life. You just got to keep going, keep staying on the system. Now, obviously, if you're just constantly going down, maybe you should review the system. But if you start simple, you're going to see the results. The TV shows like The Biggest Loser, these guys don't even have to do those workouts. Just by cutting their food intake and just walking, they're going to lose weight. You don't have to do as much as you think. And if you're overweight, it's most likely it's all diet. Exercise plays like 4-minute abs. That's the whole. Give me the guy's diet and you'll see exactly what it is. But you have to be compatible for the long term. You have to think long term because you can get shredded, but can you keep it? It has to be sustainable. And if you just make small incremental progress, it beats like the craziness of starting at 100 miles an hour because you will fail, you will burn out. And personal trainers, I hate personal trainers. overall in CrossFit is they fry your nervous system. Like athletes train their nervous system. Back in the day, still research on like the Soviets were so far ahead back in the day with the sports science. They didn't fry the nervous system. They trained it. They never missed a reps if they're in the weight room. They never missed the lift. They never pushed their body that hard because you can't do that and expect to make progress. In personal trainers, you go in there or CrossFit, they're trapping your central nervous system and you measure a good workout if you can walk out of the place. You have to be honest with yourself. Like, you're not a professional athlete, and even professional athletes don't train like that. You don't want to abuse your central nervous system. Eventually you'll hit a wall and it's even hard to get motivated. Overtraining is a real thing. You burn out. You can design a system. You can do it yourself. You can start with push-ups. I think push-ups are a great way to start. Like, first thing, as soon as you get out of bed, I do push-ups. I have been for a long time. It's a good start. You don't have to do crazy workouts. My workout itself is maybe 15 to 20 minutes. So if you're at the gym going for an hour and a half, you don't need it. It's ridiculous. And we're pushed into this culture of personal trainers, motivation, bodybuilding. Bodybuilding plays a big role that you need 10 sets for body part. You want functional strength. You want to be good later in life. And I think that it's not realistic to be a bodybuilder, nor do I think it's healthy, because all these guys do end up dying pretty young, or they have real problems. And bodybuilders have zero functional strength. I've trained with bodybuilders, and it's always fun because they look strong, but you could find guys that are like twigs that have real strength, functional strength, but they're immobile. They don't have a range of movement. It's just not a healthy lifestyle. And trainers are constantly preaching, giving you bodybuilding workouts, then mixing CrossFit because that's popular. And like CrossFit, like doing lots of reps, that's an exercise you don't want to do more than 8 reps. And they're having you do it for time. You're asking for problems. And the actual technique to perform a clean right is very difficult. I would not recommend CrossFit to people. You will burn out, you will get hurt, and then you will be back to where you started, maybe not ever working out again. It has to be enjoyable. It has to be something you like. You have to be compatible. The compatibility is the whole key for everything to keep the system going. To succeed, I can't stress this enough. You really have to. If I put running into my system, I would fail because I hate to run. It doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
So that's not like a long-term thing I see happening. So it comes out to being honest with yourself. And it's okay that whatever you decide to do. But as long as you make progress, you'll do fine. You will succeed. You don't need a trainer. You don't need motivation. You can follow the guidelines I laid out. I think they're good, but the cold exposure is great. Working out after cold exposure is fun because you want to move. So the motivation's gone. Because I can honestly say, I hate working out. I absolutely hate it. Even though I've been doing it my whole life, I hate it. I dread it. I dread the drive to the gym. I stopped going to the gym a long time ago. I just want, after my day's over or before the day starts, I want to be able to do it in my house. I don't want to wait for people. I want to have time to do things I enjoy. You go to the gym, you have to wait for machines, then you have to tell you like, you're doing this wrong, you should do this. I don't want to hear all that noise. I want to do it at home, my own privacy. The gym travel alone is already a breaking point. You could see in the system, like, I got to go now, the traffic's bad, the gym's going to be crowded. You're already thinking, maybe I should just skip it. Just do it at home. You buy kettlebells, they don't require a lot of space. You don't have to rack weight. It's a little tiny thing. It's fits in the corner of my porch. And it's everything I need. And I think that it works for me. But if you want to go to the gym route, trainers, everything else, it's just a matter of time before you quit.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I remember years ago when I was trying to get back into working out at the gym, I would wake up at 3 in the morning, drive to the gym, work out before work, and that didn't last long because there's always mornings where you just don't feel like it. And then I'll skip today, then I'll skip the next day. But yeah, it's finding a routine and finding what works for you. Same with if you're dealing with people with addiction. You come to my class or whatever, people come in like, all right, tell me what to do. I can't tell you what to do. You got to figure out what's going to work for you because everybody's different. Everybody's goals are different, whether it's working out, dealing with sobriety. I'm definitely with you with the CrossFit culture. I've been telling people for years, if you're in med school, I would highly recommend being an orthopedic surgeon because all these CrossFit people are going to need your services because their joints are going to be shot just from doing unnecessary workouts. And going back to what you're talking about nutrition, I had a doctor years ago and he since retired. This is my favorite doctor I ever had. And he just straight up told me one day, he said, to be honest, he said, if everybody ate the way they were supposed to, I'd be out of a job. He said, but I know that's not a reality. I have job security. And he was the type of doctor who would prescribe, hey, take some fish oil supplements rather than to give you a medication for something. And it would monitor it. He was real big on that.
Yeah. No, I mean, the doctors like that are very rare.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's since retired. But no, real quick, just like I said, we've covered a lot of ground. To wrap things up, let's say I'm interested in doing a cold plunge. Now, let's say I've been listening to Joe Rogan and he's talking about the benefits and this, that, and other, and I'm real pumped up. But I don't have $8,000 to buy what's it called, a blue cube or whatever. Blue cube.
The Moransko. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have $12,000. So that could be I don't have the money. That's not an option.
So I just had this conversation with somebody. I'm just going to buy an ice machine and put it in. I have a hot tub I don't use and just dump the ice in. And ultimately I said, look, that worked, but eventually it becomes a hassle to actually get the ice, dump it in. So you want something that's easy. It's always ready if you want to jump into it. And just getting a deep freezer, I think for everyone, I like the 20 cubic feet Frigidaire. I think you could find them for $800 brand new. I wouldn't buy a used deep freezer just because there's a shelf life. And if something breaks on it, good luck. But you get the $800, you have to buy two for something that size. Like you can find them on Amazon, 2 pumps that filter the water. I would recommend filtering with charcoal in a filter. They're maybe $85 each. A keg timer where it adjusts the temperature. It'll turn the unit off, $35. And an ozonator, which is roughly $85. I have all this on my website if people are interested, like in the products. And then you need probably JB, like anywhere from 10 to 20 tubes of JB water weld. Seal the seams, seal the around the upper edge. So make sure no water gets through, because that will eventually kill the system. You're doing this for under $1,200 brand new. You can get it as cold as you want. And if you want it even colder, dump Epsom salt in it. It's an added benefit as well. But you're doing all this for $1,200. Super easy. You don't really have to do much. Maybe you wipe the walls every so often just for microfilm buildup. But it's that easy, maintenance free. You change the filters, obviously. But it's more likely you'll continue to do it because it's easy. You just literally, if you make sure to turn the unit off when you get in, you just jump in, do it however long you want. The longer is better. But you get out and you're ready to go. It's the right approach. You have it in your house. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to carry bags of ice. Some people will be tempted to get these inflatable ones that you could fill with water. and they come with a chiller, and it takes a while for the chiller to work. I bought one just to see, and it leaked right away. The whole thing just dripped away. And they sent me another one, and the same thing happened. It leaked. It's like literally 3 days later. And I said, because I was thinking like, this is a great portable device I could take with me if I'm out of town. But it never worked. And they roughly cost $400, $500. You might as well spend an extra $700 and have something that is going to last. My cold plunge is outdoors. I think the part of it gets rained on, but it's important to make sure where the grill is, where the air comes out, that it's in a covered area. You don't want water going in there. It'll still last a long time, but if you really want it to last, you probably want to protect that. The other thing I would say is, because I've built a couple of these, if you do use Epsom salt, it is so corrosive, it's probably will shorten your life of the deep freezer. I probably wouldn't recommend it. I don't use it anymore just for that reason. It corrodes everything, and then you have salt all over you. You go in the house, you sit on stuff, and like stuff gets ruined. It was fun, but lots of problems. So I would just keep it simple. Add the water, you turn it on, get it as cold as you want. I think colder is better. I can't emphasize that enough. It like 40, 50-degree water, I don't think is cold enough. I think you got to push it. If you're going to do it, you might as well go all in.
And then you have to think about, for a lot of people, $1,200, that's a lot of money. But then again, what's your health worth? You're looking at $100 a month for a year, that we could easily cut out $100 a month from our monthly budget. But yeah, you think about, go to Starbucks, what's that? $10. So you do that 5 days a week. There's $50 right there. And that's just 1 week.
Yes.
We get 200, that's $200 a month.
And even if you look at it, a gym membership is roughly, I don't know what a gym membership costs, but I'm guessing $75 to $100.
Yeah, I'd say probably a good gym.
$75 to $100 right there a month. You can get a cold plunge. You can buy kettlebells. I just find them on the Facebook marketplace, and you can find them for nothing. They don't require much space. And you have all this here, and you're going to save not only on time for travel, but gas, wear and tear on your car. And it's all contained in your own home where you can just do it. You don't have to ruin your day. So in effect, doing it at home, you have more freedom and for freedom. And I think that what I preach in the book is that the system gives you freedom, because you're in control of everything from time to everything else. So you can enjoy life more, because people say this is like my system, like I laid out, it seems a lot of people say it's pretty extreme. For me, it's not, because how I was feeling. It really makes a difference. You have to really value your time, and this system values time. Having everything at home, it's worth it. Spend a little now, you're going to save a lot later. You make a investment in kettlebells, they're not going anywhere. I leave them outside, they get rained on, I don't worry about them. They're going to be there long past when I'm gone as well.
Okay. I think we're going to wind things down a bit. I got one final question for you. You've given so much great information. Hell, I'm probably going to have to go back and listen to it again just to take some notes. The cold plunge, that's definitely the next step in my evolution of my health, because I've got the sauna thing down pretty good. If anybody's interested in that and they look online and they see a $3,000 sauna, $5,000 sauna, yeah, contact me. I'll tell you how to make one for $500, and it'll get hotter than the ones you're paying $2,000 for. And it's all available on Amazon. Final question. What do you think is the biggest myth about cold therapy, cold plunge, however you want to put it?
The biggest myth, I think there's a lot of people out there. Like I saw a guy on the X posting about it. He was a shredded guy, and he suffered like heart issues from it. And I think that he said his doctor said we're seeing more and more of this from doing cold plunges. And I think that's a myth. I think he had that mitochondria, whatever, with the irregular heartbeats. And most likely people want to like doctors, people want to blame a cold plunge on already something that's existing. And most like for this guy in particular, it was probably heavy steroid use through his years and wants to have something to be a pro guy, but it's safe. If you do it right, it's not something you just jump into and say, I'm going in 10 minutes. Start slow, slower than you want, because regardless how you do anything, you start slow. You don't push yourself. You don't want to have a bad experience and say, holy shit, that is like the worst thing in the world. If you know, it's not, it's one, you got to get used to it. Your body has to adapt. Your body builds resilience through time. It's not something you can just jump full force in right away. Some people handle it better than others. I had a 65-year-old guy come over to train, and he was like, oh, it's so cold. And I said, just 1 minute. And after a minute was up, and he's, can I stay longer? He stayed 3 minutes. I was really impressed by it. And he loved it and went out and bought a cold plunge. But you should never do something like where it becomes punishment. It should be something you enjoy. It's not a punishment, and it has the benefits along the way. Though there's lots of myths around that people might have bad experiences because they punish themselves with it. It's not something you can take lightly. Go slow. And it's a long journey. You don't have to start with what someone else is doing.
Oh yeah, definitely. And if you look online, like on YouTube, there's videos of people doing a cold plunge for the first time or whatever. They're not screaming in pain, they're laughing. It's a kind of an awakening thing to them. And I think everybody could benefit from it, including myself, especially when you talk about the inflammation and everything, because like I said, we're just walking balls of inflammation. Any way to reduce that, it's definitely going to increase the quality of your life. But yeah, so real quick, in case anybody forgot, Cam Cordin's book is called Savage Chill, Die to Live. It's available on Amazon. It's available Barnes and Noble. It's out there, and it's not expensive. So I highly recommend checking it out. I'll try to put a link in the description of this podcast. That way you can get to it quickly. It's got, I'm pretty sure, I think it's all 5-star reviews from what I saw.
Yeah, and Amazon's holding back reviews as well. It's a good book.
Yeah, and it's actually on sale right now. If you do the Kindle version, it's $8. Hey, can't beat that.
How do you, the book should be out there? So
All 5-star reviews, great read. The Truth is Savage, unique and inspiring read, excellent book. The method that gave me a life I didn't know I wanted. That's a very good statement for a review. Please check it out. Check out Cam on Instagram. He's got some good videos on there. Savage_chill_. And you should be able to find him, or just punch in Savage Chill. Should pop up pretty quickly. Pretty sure that's how I found him. But please go to his socials, follow him, and I think you'll get some great information. This podcast definitely went longer than I thought it was going to, but that's fine. I'll put it out there. It's great information. Hopefully, whoever's listening stayed with us. A lot of good information, and I'll definitely get this posted as soon as I can. Thank you, Cam, so much. You've definitely inspired me. I'm definitely going to have to pick up a copy of your book and see if your routine is compatible with my lifestyle. And if not, I can modify it, but it's all about making it your own.
exactly.
And then who knows? Somebody listening might come up with their own thing, and then they put out a book. And I'm definitely a proponent of education, getting it out there. No need to be greedy. If you think you got something that's going to help somebody, put it out there. Even if it's the smallest thing, put it out there. Even if it's a 10-second YouTube video, put it out there because you never know who's going to watch. Thank you so much, and I will definitely stay in contact with you because I've definitely got more questions, and I look forward to seeing what kind of response we get.
Thank you, James. Thanks for any questions. I always answer questions.
All right. And real quick, what's your website?
It is savagechillstyle.com.
All right. savagechillstyle.com. And for everybody listening, take care. Take care of your mind. Take care of your body. And just do your best to keep it between the ditches. All right. That is Cam Cordin. Please check out his book, Savage Chill, available on Amazon and other places. Great interview. Definitely enjoyed talking to him. A lot of good information. I'm a huge proponent of alternative methods to heal the body and the mind. And I think that when you combine sauna, cold plunge, whichever one that works best for you, I think there's a lot to it. It's been around for thousands of years. When you look back over history, there's got to be something to it. And there's a lot of scientific information coming out about the benefits of cold plunge. Sauna, basically putting your body in that fight or flight mentality, making it react, making it work. And I think too often we as a society, we try to avoid pain, try to avoid discomfort, and I don't think that's how our bodies were designed. We're supposed to have uncomfort. We're supposed to experience things, and our body reacts to that. And with that being said, I can speak to my personal journey in the past few months. I have not done the cold plunge, and I talked about it briefly in the podcast. That's definitely something that I want to get into. I've been doing the sauna for, I don't know, probably 6-7 months, give or take. It's had a massive impact in my health, my daily life. My test results from the doctor are through the roof. Lost weight. I feel better when I do it. It's become a daily routine in my household. I can't recommend it enough, but make sure that you don't have any medical issues that can put you at risk. So I'm not a medical professional, so don't take my word for it. But if you're healthy enough to give it a try, give it a try. When it comes to the cold plunge, like I said, I'm working on it. I'm building up to it. But I do see the benefits. I've researched it. There's a lot of good information out there. So seek it out. And I'm going to try my best to get a sauna expert in my next podcast. So I've been putting feelers out there to kind of see who would be open to coming on and having a chat. Me being me, of course, I'm going straight to Finland, trying to find somebody that speaks good English and is well versed in sauna. So that might pan out, might not. I might have to look elsewhere. But definitely looking forward to getting somebody on, getting some more information, put it out there in the world. Hopefully this helps you. Like I said, Cam Cordin, check out his book. I got to pick me up a copy. But yeah, I guess I'll just wrap it up on that. If you need to get a hold of me, I'm very accessible. Just go to my website, freedomanger.com, where we provide anger stress management services. If you want to email me directly, it's james@freedomanger.com. Email me directly, and I look forward to doing some more podcasts in the future. I hope you enjoy. If it's good enough, share it with a friend. Let it grow. I will not stop you from doing that. But as always, stay safe.